Dozens and dozens of you, sent me a copy of this article from Money Magazine. And you're absolutely right. Not only do I have an opinion about this article, I think many of you will be outraged when you hear it, even though it doesn't really affect you directly. Just the language used in it and the ideas contained within, I think, are pretty outrageous. Money Magazine, not known for controversy. The biggest controversy Money Magazine ever gets into is when they list the most livable cities in America, and whoever the last city is on the list, they always freak out. They always file protests and send out press releases. You know, I think Camden, New Jersey got very upset that they didn't rate very highly on this list, for example. That's as controversial as Money Magazine ever gets. But listen to this story from Money Magazine. It comes from their website. It's also been reprinted on MSNBC.com. Here it is. It's called How to Meet and Marry a Billionaire. Here's the story. Are you looking to fall for someone tall, dark, but most importantly, very wealthy? Work hard, take risks, maybe build your own business. That's the traditional route to financial success. Of course, there's another highly traditional path to acquiring wealth that isn't talked about quite so much these days. Marry money. Real money, as in not a mere millionaire. They're a dime a dozen these days. But forget the fabulous baubles, designer clothing, cutting-edge electronics, and palatial mansions that your golden goose, spouse, might heap upon you. Consider the more pragmatic bonuses of the good life. No more scrimping and saving to make... And your kids are in the door, even if they're no smarter than a grapefruit. Sold? Of course you are. But how realistic is it for you, an ordinary wage slave with no more ties to the jet set than a business trip to Cleveland last month, to even meet, much less marry, a billionaire? As a matter of scientific inquiry, Money Magazine decided to find out. To that end, we analyzed the mating habits of 50 of the mega-moneyed to learn how they met their spouses. We scoured the How to Marry Rich literature and talked to society watchers, upscale matchmakers, and wealth experts. And we pored over divorce news to see how spouse number 1 was supplanted by spouse number 2 or number 3. Unfortunately, those who had already made it to Fat City refused to say how they got there. I am just not telling, said one billionaire's wife over her cell phone before hanging up. Nonetheless, our findings were encouraging. Marrying a billionaire is not beyond your grasp, as long as you're willing to work hard for your goal. Yes, hard work, albeit of a different kind, is still a requisite for achieving wealth. You will first need to identify the billionaires in your area or their relatives and learn their marital status. Then you'll have to study their businesses, hangouts, pets, favorite philanthropies, artists, music, and vacation spots. Google is a gold digger's best friend. Also required, an investment in the type of home, clothing, grooming, and charity events that will help you mix among the high and mighty hoity-toity. One cautionary note: before you start making repeated visits to your target's golf club or home, remember that stalking is a crime in all 50 states and Washington, D.C. Oh, good for that warning. First, some bad news. Forbes magazine, which has made a cottage industry of compiling lists of wealthy folks, declared this year that there are a paltry 946 billionaires in the entire world. Worse, most of them are currently married, though that does not necessarily discourage the most determined gold diggers. The picture gets even grimmer for men. A scant 38 women appear on the list of U.S. billionaires. Average age, 63. How many of them actually earned that money, and how many of them earned it by having sex with a billionaire? And then he died or slipped on a banana peel or something. Fortunately, it says here in Money Magazine, the ranks of those who are filthy rich, if not quite in the billionaire stratosphere, are increasing daily. According to Merrill Lynch and Capgemini, a consulting company, there were 85,400 ultra-high net worth individuals in 2005, the most recent year for which data were collected. They're also known as UHNWIs, ultra-high net worth individuals. These are people with $30 million or more. Many of them up-and-coming hedge fund managers, telecom barons, and internet tycoons. They have amassed only $100 million or so, but could easily hit the big 8 in a few years. For male fortune hunters, there are widows and armies of ex-wives with humongous divorce settlements. Yes, for all the strides women have made in the workplace, most super-rich gals do acquire their wealth through their relationships with men. There's your answer right there. And stereotypically, many of their husbands dump them when they reach a certain age. Take Janet Burkle, ex-wife of Ron Burkle, a Los Angeles supermarket mogul. He has $2.5 billion. Last year, she lost her appeal to nullify a divorce agreement she claimed was unfair. The court forced her to make do with a pitiful $30 million plus interest. The scions of billionaires are also numerous. While marrying less pecunious offspring may look like you're just making do, it's not a bad deal. And think about the scads they'll inherit. New York Times foreign affairs correspondent Thomas Friedman, for example, when berated by Bill O'Reilly from the right and the Washington Monthly from the left, can sob into a pillow at the $9.5 million, 11,400 square foot house he owns with wife Ann Bucksbaum, a shopping center heiress. Next step, land the right job, one that allows you to circulate among the wealthy, of course. Just over half of the billionaires in our study met their spouses at work. Example, Melinda Gates was a Microsoft manager when she met Bill at a company press event. Both Anna Torv, wife number 2, and Wendy Deng, number 3, worked for companies owned by Rupert Murdoch, who has $7.7 billion. First as a reporter, second as a TV executive. And corporate raider Carl Icahn, he has $9.7 billion, made Gail Golden, his longtime assistant, wife numero dos. The reason is obvious. Ambitious type A billionaires rarely leave their offices enough to chat up women at bars or to attend a mature singles hayride at their local church or temple. Get an MBA ASAP to worm your way into a billionaire's business, and eventually his heart, you need the right career. And an MBA will give you the most flexibility. Since people think that it qualifies you to do just about anything, you can get hired just about anywhere. Focus on industries with the most billionaires. Finance, 52. Investments, there's 51 billionaires there. Service, 42 billionaires. Media and entertainment, 38. Real estate, 33. And the oil and gas industries, 30. Ultra-rich men once gravitated towards women with the showiest plumage or plastic surgery. That has changed, says Richard Conniff, author of The Natural History of the Rich, a field guide. Arm candy is now seen as déclassé, he notes. These days, the more prestigious your credentials and the brainier you are, the better. Is that so? Consider Anne... What is that? What was that name? Wojcicki, I believe it is. Who only this May sealed the deal with Sergey Brin, Google's co-founder. By the way, Sergey has $14.1 billion. She graduated with a B.S. in biology from Yale, conducted molecular biology research at the National Institutes of Health and the Weizmann Institute, and recently founded 23andMe, a genetic research company. She met Brin through her sister, Susan, a Google marketing exec with, see, we told you, an MBA from UCLA. I might add, by the way, Google has a different type of people working there. than, say, a movie studio or an oil and gas company. Come on. Says here, women, too, seem to favor the brainy over the muscle-bound. eBay's Meg Whitman, she has $1.2 billion, for example, is married to a neurosurgeon. If you or your close relatives have little aptitude for Excel spreadsheets and turned in unimpressive GRE scores, you'll have to select a career that focuses on a billionaire's second greatest preoccupation after his business, spending. While alpha over-earners may not visit their mother for months, they will gladly leave their corner office and computer screen to lavish money on pet luxuries. Among the careers that will put you in contact with them at this vulnerable moment, real estate, with a specialty in mansions, luxury car, private jet, or yacht sales, work at museums, galleries, or high-end antique shops, interior design or architecture, again, specialize in mansions, and racehorse training. Time-worn but still good, personal trainer, or golf and tennis pro. Don't despair if your job takes you no closer to wealth than the dollar store. There are plenty of other activities that the resolute billionaire hunter can pursue to mix with the excessively prosperous during evenings or on weekends. You need to move into a rich environment, says Ginny Sales, a Houston marital consultant and author of How to Marry the Rich. See, there's a book called How to Marry the Rich. If you want to be rich, you must live where the rich live, even if it's in an attic. She claims that no matter what your budget, you can find a hidey hole within 16 blocks of the big money. By hanging out in a ritzy neighborhood, you'll get comfortable with wealthy people and attuned to what they like, and you'll greatly increase your chances of running into a billionaire at, say, the local Starbucks. Billionaires' expansive estates, urban pied-à-terres, and quaint 30,000-square-foot country homes confront them with the task of covering vast stretches of empty walls and filling echoing foyers with something. That means they are constantly on the prowl for paintings, sculptures, and other objects d'art that will do the job. So prowl where they prowl. For starters, cultivate a taste for museums and become a member, not a visitor. At the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, for example, you can become a supporting member for $250 a year. That entitles you to attend hosted exhibition previews and receptions where you can elbow your way into the elite. If you're willing to go without dinner for a few months, invest in a $1,500 membership in the Artist Circle, which provides much greater mingling opportunities, including evening receptions, private viewings for major exhibitions, and priority invitations to special events, such as the biennial art auction. It goes on, and I could sit here and read this article, and it's a very long article, and I recommend that you check it out. It's called How to Meet and Marry a Billionaire. You can find it at this website, iVillage, or MSNBC.com, or the Money Magazine website. There it is, How to Meet and Marry a Billionaire. Now, I'm wondering how many of you ladies have pretty much devoted your life to trying to meet rich guys. I mean, that's it. You will never, ever fall in love with the poet or the struggling musician or actor. You will never fall in love with just an average Woiken guy. Maybe you think you've just got assets that are too valuable to just give away to somebody. You are on the auction block. You are there for sale to the highest bidder. You imagine your love life as being on eBay, and the highest bidder will get you. I want to talk to you. By the way, if there's any men out there who are trying to do this, I'd love to hear from them, but I doubt we'll hear from any, unless they're gay and looking for gay billionaires. I don't know. But I'm wondering how many of you have just decided to devote your life to finding somebody who has money. How do you do it? Do you go where they go? Do you advertise yourself on websites? There are websites, the equivalent of Match.com, where people can meet millionaires or billionaires. Do you advertise in places like that? Do you travel to where rich people travel? Do you go to neighborhoods where rich people are? I mean, how do you get hooked up? Rich people don't place ads in the personals, do they? I'm really curious. So this hour, if you are a person who is trying to meet and marry a rich person, if that is what your life is all about, I want to talk to you.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
What's up?
The Tom Leykis Show.
Let's go!
Leykis Show. 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Well, look at this. Not one woman will cop to being this kind of woman. The kind that is devoting a lot of her time to finding ultra-high net worth individuals, rich guys. And I find that fascinating because I've met women like this in my travels. In fact, I know a lot of women who've tried to get to know me. Women who made a real effort to meet me, figured out, maybe the area where I live, or figured out when I'm making an appearance somewhere, or they send me an email. And when I have chatted with these women, I smoke them out. I smoke them out. Let me tell you, as a guy with money, and that's why it's amazing that these women don't want to call in and confess who they are. Because I know you're out there, girls, and if you're not going to call in and confess yourself, I'm going to tell guys with money how to tell they're with somebody who's looking to get their money. All right? Now, we're talking about an article that was called How to Marry a Billionaire. That's what it's all about, boys. How to marry a billionaire. And what is interesting about this article is they tell you all these ways to do it, and I have met women who've done that and met me. Now, I'm not a billionaire. I'm a multi-millionaire, so I'm not one of the less than 1,000 billionaires in the world yet. It's my goal, but I'm not there yet. But let me tell you what it's like when I've tried to suss you girls out, okay? There are two particular women, and I'll bet they're listening. Women who I don't see and will not see anymore. Okay? Now, one of them, who made a real effort to meet me, is actually a subscriber to a dating website. No, not Match.com, not Yahoo Personals, not JDate, not Adult Friend Finder. No. There's one, it's called Billionaires Club. Or it has some weird name like 123 Billionaires Club, something like that. She's a member. She's got a profile on there. And by the way, despite what the article about meeting a billionaire says, this woman is looking to meet a billionaire, is shown scantily clad, and I mean she's wearing about as little as they will let her get away with. By the way, killer body. Just killer. But she shows off all her best assets. There's her ass pointing at the camera. There she is in these leopard print bikinis and stuff. And then, of course, she looking for love. That's what she tells you in the profile. But she met me, and I uncovered the fact that she was on this website. This was also somebody who told me that she went to parties at the Playboy Mansion all the time. I was wondering why she hadn't run into me. And when I talk to women who either go to parties at the Playboy Mansion or want to go to parties at the Playboy Mansion, those are gold diggers right there, in my view. That's why they go. That's why they go. They're scantily clad. They give you a good look at the merchandise. And they want to see how far into your wallet they can get. All right? So you have that. And then there was another woman who I met who had been married to a very rich guy who also was... This was a clue right here. The guy is well into his 70s. Well into his 70s. But she was, and she even told me she was stupid enough to sign a prenuptial agreement, so when she divorced him, she got, like, practically nothing compared to what she would have gotten had he not made her sign a prenuptial agreement. What do these two women have in common? I'm going to tell you. Each one of them gave me a sample of the merchandise. In other words, I had 1 or 2 shots at them in the sack. And what they did was they give you, it's kind of like the old days when they were, I don't know if you remember when HBO would give you what they called a free preview. There was a time before they gave you an entire weekend of HBO or Showtime as a free preview, they would show a movie All of it except the last 20 minutes, and then they would scramble the picture and they'd say, call now. If you'd like to subscribe. Unsuspecting people would tune in, watch the movie, and then never see the end of it unless they subscribe to HBO. So I got a taste of the goods. I saw their naked bodies. I got to nibble on their breasts. I took the big plunge once or twice. And then each one of them kind of pulled it all back. And they needed to know if I loved them. And I said to them that having sex with you one time is not going to make me fall in love with anybody. I mean, maybe I'll never fall in love with you. Maybe I'll never fall in love with anyone. I don't know. But I thought it was kind of weird, and it made me very suspicious. So each of these two women continue, by the way, to contact me. They continue to call me. They continue to write to me. One woman calls me every day. I generally don't take her calls anymore. If I ever pick up, it's by accident. Today, one of them called me, and she misdialed. I didn't know who she had misdialed. So when I picked up, she didn't know who she was talking to. So she said, literally, you ever get a call, instead of saying hello, the person says, who is this? And, of course, my response is always, I'm the person you called. But I'm looking at the caller ID, and I know who I'm talking to. Gary and Dean have seen me talk to this woman. This woman calls me every day. Every day. And the more I tell her that this is never going to happen and we are never going to have a relationship and you can forget about it, the more she calls me. Oh, yeah. And she knows who she is, too. So get this. This particular woman, who is a gold digger, and, she wasn't very good at it the first time. She married a guy and then signed a prenup and then got screwed in the divorce. This time around, she's trying to do a better job. And, yes, she wants me to be in love with her before I can have sex with her again. I have to say, I love you. I have to say the words, I love you. Which I'm not going to say because I don't love her. Don't love her. I'm not going to love her. Not going to fall in love with her. It's not going to happen. But she, I guess I'm the closest she's gotten recently to somebody with real cashola, and so she doesn't give up. She continues to try to reach me. She continues trying to talk to me. And I continue saying, no, not going to see you. So there's got to be women like that out there, women who, maybe you met one rich guy and you keep calling him, or I know you're out there because many of you women contact me. I find it very entertaining, by the way. And the reason I find it entertaining is because I'm so open about the fact that I'll never give any of you bitches my money. Ever. You'll never get it. You'll never get your hands on it. You will never get your claws into my ATM card. You will never get the key to my house. I will never give you an expense account or an allowance. You will never be shopping on my dime. And yet you girls continue to think that that 1 or 2 nights in the sack is going to be enough to suck me in, and it's just not. Nothing will be enough to suck me in to that extent, ever. So you girls keep trying, and by the way, every time I mention this on the air, more women try it. My mailbox today, I will look at the email box today, and I will have women trying again. But I'm telling you right now, you can try if you will never, ever, ever get my money. Ever. You can ask the others who've tried. It will never happen. That's right. Yes, Dean, you're right. I've had them ask me to buy them a Mercedes. I've had them ask me to sell my home and move to like Malibu or Pacific Palisades. I'm perfectly happy in the Hollywood Hills where I live. I've had them ask me to send money to their grandparents or their parents. It isn't going to happen, girls. It isn't, and yet the more I say it's not going to happen, the more they keep trying, the more they think they've got the magic vagina that's going to get the deal done. It's not going to happen. So we read you the piece from Money Magazine called How to Marry a Billionaire. How to meet and marry a billionaire specifically. And I'm wondering how many of you girls actually have devoted time to try to meet rich guys. Now, you can tell us your story, girls. We'd certainly love to hear about it if that's you. Okay, if it is you, call us at 1-800-5800-TOM. It's 1-800-5800-866. Also, if you are offended by this article or amused by it, I'd like to hear from you as well.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
I heard a little bit ago some lady called up, said that you were a Neanderthal. If you look up the definition in Webster's third New International Dictionary for Neanderthal, I take it as a compliment every time I'm called one. It's one who walks around erect.
The Tom Leykis Show.
From Hollywood, it's the Tom Leykis Show. Thank you for tuning in. Welcoming our newest affiliate, 99.1 The Man in Boise, Idaho. Oh, yeah. We're going to wake up Boise. I'll tell you right now. If you're new to the show, our phone number, toll-free, is 1-800-5800-TOM. It's 1-800-5800-866. We're talking about an article that appeared in Money Magazine called How to Meet and Marry a Billionaire. Women like that. What's the deal? Dana on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom. How are you today?
I'm doing great.
Good. I'm a long-time listener. Just celebrated my 11th year of listening to you.
Great.
So thank you very much. I actually wanted to respond to your method on smoking out the chicks that are after your cash.
Yes.
This is actually a really good friend of mine. I think he's just turned 30. He is a multimillionaire, and he has one of the best tactics I have ever seen. He actually meets chicks, at random bars and things like that, the hottest ones you could possibly imagine, gets them home, does his thing, and then the next time when he actually arranges his date to maybe pick them up at work or something, when they told all their friends that they met this hot rich guy, he picks them up in a 1984 Toyota Tercel that's half primer, half mustard yellow. The door doesn't open from the inside on the passenger side, so he has to let them out. Not one woman has ever gotten in that car. Not once. Never. So
well, you see, he's screwing himself out of a lot of opportunities.
Well, he has the first car. When he has two really, really nice. He has a BMW and a nice Mercedes. But the Toyota's to get rid of them.
Well, that's the thing. If you want to get rid of them, it's one thing. But, you see, my goal in life is to get laid without ever giving my money to anybody. So I let women believe they might get the money. Because even when I say I'm not going to let you have the money, most women think they're going to change us.
That is true.
Most women think that they have the magic potion. Their sexuality will give me what I want, what they want. In other words, it will give them what they want. That's how they think. They think that they're going to change me with their sexuality.
Yeah, well, sometimes maybe they think it's worth a shot, but
well, that's the thing. I will take those free tastes, like those two women I told you about who are very attractive, and both have had experiences meeting multimillionaires or billionaires. One was married to a guy who's in his 80s.
Oh, jeez.
And one is listed on a website in various stages of undress.
I heard about the leopard.
Showing her ass to the camera there, and it's on a billionaire's website. Okay. These women have given me a taste of the goods, and you know what? If I only get one taste of the goods, I got what I wanted. I don't ever need you to come back. So the thing is, they thought they'd give me a taste, and then I'd sign up for the program.
That's true.
I took the free taste, just like I'll go to Baskin-Robbins and take that free sample of bubblegum ice cream, and then after that, I'm done.
Tom, you are the man.
Thank you, Dana.
Thank you. Have a great one.
You too. Appreciate the call. The toll-free telephone number here, 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. Let's say hello to Lilith. Lilith on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
First-time caller.
Yeah.
I've been listening to your show for 2 years.
Yes.
And I agree with most of the things you say. And with this article, I didn't get a chance to hear it entirely, but I believe regarding the gold diggers. And I totally agree with you and the article. I'm not offended as a woman. And people, some women just want to have a price on themselves, and they'll do whatever is possible to get that. They'll put a bid on themselves that they're worth having $1 million and married to a guy who's rich and provided for them instead of themselves getting that $1 million, working for it, being a smart businesswoman.
Right. So I'll take the test drive.
Yeah.
You know, maybe the only way I'll ever get to drive a Maybach is to take the test drive and then tell the dealer, let me think about it, okay? And it's the same thing with women like that.
Yeah, I agree. And actually, I had a question for you.
Yes.
Have you ever associated with a woman that has her own wealth? And, you know, she's what is she looking for?
I have. Well, what she's looking for is a man who, they love to use the word flexible. I once dated a woman who owned her own business. It had several branches. She was a multimillionaire. I came to visit her at her house. Yeah. Where we had a sexual encounter. And her house was so large that when I went to the bathroom, I embarrassingly got lost and could not find her and had to start yelling for help.
Wow.
Like, where are you? I can't find you. Okay, but the thing is that she was constantly flying from office to office. She wasn't in town a lot. She would come pick me up in her sports car, and we would drive off somewhere. She would always drive. She was always in charge, you know. And then, but the thing is that, you know, honestly, I had a lot more free time than she did. And so, really, she wanted a monogamous relationship with someone who could stand having sex once or twice a week while she was busy jetting off to do business. And that wasn't enough for me. So I'm not the least bit threatened by women with money. You know, women love to believe that. I'm not threatened by it. I want you around when I want you around. And if you're busy, I'm going to find something else to do or someone else to do.
All right. And I also want to say thank you for educating boys and immature men right now. Some of them are, it doesn't matter their age, that not to spend money around for a woman that will never be interested on them, but rather invest it, get smart.
Right.
Get smart, people.
Exactly.
Anyway, so I agree with you. I totally agree. And if women don't, then they have issues of their own. So I just want to say love your show. Enjoy.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Appreciate the call, Lilith. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Here comes Steve on the Tom Leykis show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
This is Steve.
I know. I just said that.
I am calling to take an experience I had with a gold digger through my father.
Yes.
And at my mom's funeral 10 years ago, this woman came to the funeral with her husband. 12 weeks later, she was living with my father. And so that continued on for about 5 or 6 years, but luckily he had made her sign a cohabitation agreement before she moved in.
Wow.
And so when it was time for her to go, which was about 2 or 3 years ago, he had just bought 2 new multi-million-dollar homes, which were the first homes that he had bought while they had been together. And so these were her homes. These weren't his previous homes. These were her homes. And so
you mean she called them her homes?
She called them her homes. Her name wasn't on anything, but she assumed these were her homes. And so about that time was about the time he was done with her, and he didn't have a direct way of communicating this to her, so he hired me as the evictor to come and ensure that her services were no longer needed.
How did you enjoy that?
It was quite a good thing. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and especially when she didn't leave voluntarily and the sheriff had to come and remove her from the premises. She thought it was fun and games and said, no, I'll leave now. And the sheriff said, no, you don't understand. You're under arrest. And he arrested her and took her away.
Hey, what state is that? I think that's the next place. If I ever live with a woman, that's where I want to be. Where is that?
That is North Carolina.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm liking that.
Yeah, it was a good deal. And actually, borrowed her Porsche Carrera convertible to drive to draw the warrant for her. And he did it very classily. He had the locksmith there to change the locks while she was refusing to leave, and then had the movers show up after she was arrested and took everything that even remotely could have been hers and threw it in boxes and had it delivered to the moving company where she could then get it on her own schedule.
Wow.
And
I love
the problem is that she's still floating around there. She still gives him a sample of the goods now and then, thinking she can close the deal. And he actually called me about a year ago and told me he was engaged to her.
Oh, no!
Yes, and so he was telling me this, and he sounded like a dead man talking to me. And I was like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? You certainly don't sound happy about this. And he's like, well, I was down in West Palm Beach, and, you know, I meant to say don't stop, and I said, will you marry me?
Wow.
And so he bought her a big diamond ring, and so then he had to extract himself from that situation.
Wow.
Which he did. And she still won't go away. She's still lurking around the perimeter, always hoping for another crack at it. And he does date her. He does sleep with her occasionally. But she hopes to make him jealous by dating other men, and he encourages her.
By the way, I'm speaking now as an ultra-rich individual. Once you have mastered not caring what women do when they're not around, it's the ultimate freedom because you get to nail these chicks, frequently very, very hot chicks, who then play the jealousy game with you. And if you don't care, they get frustrated. Then they come back to you and give you another sample of the goods. Then they go off and they're very sloppy about appearing to be trying to hide the fact they're with other guys. And the thing is, I don't care what they do when they're not around. I couldn't care less.
Yeah, he doesn't care either, and I keep telling him she's getting a bit long in the tooth, and maybe he needs to, you know, upgrade for some younger, fresher models, and he has been doing that, but he's, you know, on up in age a little bit, and I think he's getting a little tired of the, you know, 25,
well, hey,
30-year-old.
He wouldn't drive a 5-year-old car, would he?
No, he doesn't.
Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
There's always a newer, fresher model that smells like the new car, and you want to break one of those in. Thank you for the call. Our email address is my name. It's Tom at blowmeuptom.com. Tom at